Most people go about their everyday lives without knowing that the US Navy is fighting a secret war, one that rarely makes the news. This war is against drug cartels that use special submarines filled with cocaine to avoid being caught. These submarines try to sneak through the ocean without being seen by Navy ships or helicopters, some of which are armed with machine guns. Although these missions involve billions of dollars and great danger, they are rarely talked about in public. This drug war at sea is much more advanced than people think. It's not just fast boats and hidden cargo anymore. Now, drug traffickers use submarines. These submarines travel under the surface of the ocean, making it very hard for radar to detect them. Each trip can carry huge amounts of cocaine, sometimes worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The idea of using underwater vessels started in the 1980s. Back then, Colombian cartels used simple underwater tubes dragged behind boats. But over time, they became more advanced. By the 1990s, they had moved on to self-powered submarines built by hand in secret jungle workshops. These subs were often made from fiberglass and wood and built far from cities, under thick jungle cover, to avoid being spotted by satellites or planes. Today's drug submarines are surprisingly well built, even though they are made by people with little or no formal training. They are about 80 feet long and can travel up to 2,500 miles without needing more fuel. Each one can carry up to 10 tons of drugs. They usually travel just below the water's surface to avoid detection. A small crew of about 5 people operates these subs, living in cramped, hot conditions with few comforts. Each submarine costs about $1 million to $2 million to build, but can carry drugs worth more than $150 million, making them a tempting tool for traffickers. The latest submarines are even harder to find. They're often painted ocean colors like blue or gray to blend in and are built to create almost no wake in the water. Some even have lead linings to block heat signals so they can't be seen by thermal cameras from above. One big problem for law enforcement is that these submarines can sink themselves in minutes. If they think they're about to be caught, the crew can open special valves that flood the sub, sending it and its cargo to the ocean floor where it's nearly impossible to recover. In 2024, the US and its allies saw just how far this technology had come. One drug sub was caught on its way to Australia, having traveled more than 10,000 miles. This showed that drug cartels can now run missions over vast distances using submarines, opening up new routes and raising new challenges for law enforcement. To stop these operations, the military and law enforcement have had to get smarter too. They now use thermal imaging, drones, and artificial intelligence to find even the faintest signs of a submarine. But even with all this technology, for every drug submarine caught, experts believe 3 or 4 more get through. This ongoing challenge led to a massive global effort called Operation Martillo, which means hammer in Spanish. It began in 2012 when 14 countries, including the US, UK, France, Spain, and several Latin American nations, teamed up to stop drug trafficking at sea. Unlike other failed drug war efforts, Operation Martillo focused on stopping the cartels where it hurt most, their shipping routes. Military ships, planes, and special forces worked together to patrol the waters between South and North America. In the first year alone, they arrested over 300 smugglers and seized over 100 boats. In 2011, they captured 119 tons of cocaine worth around $2.35 billion. They also seized millions in cash and goods meant to help smuggle drugs. Then in 2024, a new operation called Operation Orion expanded this effort even more. This time, 62 countries took part, sharing intelligence and working together across different time zones. The results were record-breaking. 225 tons of cocaine were seized in one operation, along with over 1,000 tons of marijuana and other drugs, worth more than $8.5 billion on the street. Every country brought something unique to the mission. The US used advanced radar satellites, the Dutch sent underwater drones, and Colombian forces tracked jungle launch sites. Even countries without coastlines helped by tracking money and communications. These massive operations did more than just stop drug shipments. They gathered a huge amount of information about how the cartels work. Each arrest, boat, and phone captured gave law enforcement new clues. With every success, the price of cocaine in the US went up because supply was shrinking. But the cartels didn't give up. They started using faster boats and new designs. The most common boat used for speed is called a go-fast. These boats are about 30 feet long and have 3 or 4 powerful motors. They can reach speeds over 80 miles per hour and are painted to blend with the ocean. Some even carry 2,000 gallons of fuel, letting them travel over 500 miles without stopping. These boats were first designed during U.S. alcohol prohibition in the 1920s and have since been upgraded for drug smuggling. To stop them, the U.S. Coast Guard created a special helicopter team called Hytron. They use helicopters armed with machine guns and sniper rifles. When they spot a go-fast, they don't chase it. They fly above it and shoot out its engines with precise shots that avoid harming the crew. This has worked so well that cartels now disguise their boats to look like fishing vessels or hide the drugs underwater in secret compartments. Some cartels have even built hybrid boats that combine speed with stealth. These low-profile vessels sit very low in the water, almost invisible to radar or planes. Although they're slower than go-fasts, they're much harder to detect. Despite these changes, one ship has become a nightmare for smugglers: the U.S. Coast Guard cutter James. In early 2025, this ship went on a 112-day mission that drug traffickers still talk about. The cutter James is a massive 418-foot-long ship with 150 crew members and advanced technology that allows it to stay at sea for months. During this mission, it seized over 48,000 pounds of drugs worth around $510 million, one of the biggest financial hits ever dealt to the cartels. On January 5th, the ship's drone spotted a suspicious vessel off the coast of Ecuador. It tracked the boat until Coast Guard teams boarded it and found over 2,200 pounds of cocaine. The next day, they stopped 3 go-fast boats traveling together and caught nearly 14,000 pounds of cocaine. On January 7th, smugglers tried to use a stealth boat, but the cutter's helicopter team was ready. They shot out the engines and stopped another 8,000 pounds of cocaine from reaching the U.S. Later in the month, when smugglers dumped drugs into the sea, fast boats from the cutter chased them down and collected the floating cargo. The U.S. Navy helped too. Ships like the USS Minneapolis-St. Paul and USS St. Louis made their own seizures in the Caribbean, capturing hundreds more kilograms of cocaine. All of this intelligence revealed new smuggling routes and techniques used by top cartels like Sinaloa and Jalisco New Generation. Behind all these successful operations is a secret command center in Key West, Florida. From the outside, the building looks normal, but inside, a team of experts is leading one of the most successful anti-drug efforts in the world.